Hi there, Internet Associate. It's Anthony, and I'm about to watch the first and last episode of The Originals. So this is part of a new thing I've been doing on this channel where I've been looking at the first episode and the last episode of various TV shows that I haven't seen before. It's just something I thought would be fun to see how much things have changed in between those two episodes, because I imagine that in most cases it's going to be a lot. It's going to be really different. So I recently did it with the Vampire Diaries, which was really fun. And I felt like the two episodes tied together so well despite being so far apart and so much happening in between. So now I've decided I want to do it with The Originals, which is a spinoff of the Vampire Diaries. I do just want to throw that disclaimer out there again. I know good and well that watching two episodes of a TV show, even the first and last episode, is nowhere near getting any type of idea of how good the show is, what the show's message is, what happens in the show, or anything like that. It's not even a fraction of a percentage of a representation of the show. I understand that. A lot of my favorite shows, if somebody tried to judge them off of the first and last episode, like, I would think that was totally unfair and it would not be an accurate representation at all. So that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to look at these two shows and be like, or look at these two episodes and just be like, okay, this show is this good because da 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 da. I might give some thoughts on the episodes themselves, but that doesn't mean I think it's an overall representation of the show. So I just want to make that clear. I'm not judging it based off two episodes. That being said, though, I think this is going to be really fun, really interesting. I don't know anything about The Originals. I mean, I think The Originals, I know it's a spinoff of the Vampire Diaries. Now, I don't know exactly like what aspect of it is a spinoff. Like, I remember there was a character named Klaus in the last episode of the Vampire Diaries that was, he had signed his name or something somewhere. I'm not sure if he's in this show or if he's in the other show, Legacies. But yeah, I really just don't know nothing. I don't even know if this has to do with vampires still or what. I know nothing about this. So I guess I'm just going to have to go in completely blind and just, hope that I can figure things out. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. So let's go ahead, skip all the talking, and just get straight into it. This is The Originals, Season 1, Episode 1, Always and Forever.
Over the course of my long life, I have come to believe that we are bound forever to those with whom we share blood and be our greatest strength.
Who is Elijah?
Or our deepest regret.
This 300 years ago. Uh-oh, are those coffins with vampires in them or something?
Open it up.
Resting vampires? I got a bad feeling. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, y'all are screwed. Yeah, you better run. These must be vampires doing their super fast thing. Whoa.
I ate him, brother.
I'd rather you didn't.
That's Elijah.
What kind of hell demons are you?
We're vampires, darling. The original vampires.
These are the original vampires.
May they rest in peace.
Are we saving the best?
Klaus.
And our half-brother, Klaus. Ignore him, he's a beast.
Jeez. That was smart of him, though, not to kill all of them. So now there's an explanation that guy can give.
Are you going to continue following me, Elijah? Or do you want to talk?
You know who I am.
Original vampire always wears a suit. You and your family are famous amongst the witches.
So she really knows what she's talking about.
Brother back in town.
Tell you what, go back to the restaurant, cook up some of that famous gumbo, and keep those tourists happy. Take the body.
What? No, stop! Stop! Marcel!
I'm gonna hold on to your sister's body in case maybe you remember why Klaus is here.
Vampires versus
All
witches.
these years, Marcel is alive and well.
Quite. Our brother seems to have wandered into a war zone.
Well, I stuck with Klaus. And not 3 years later, he stuck a silver dagger in my chest and sent me into a magical slumber for 90 years. Do you know why? Because I had the audacity to try and live my life on my own without him.
That was really interesting what she just mentioned about a silver dagger sending her to a 90-year slumber.
I guess you can't, seeing as Marcel killed her.
Somebody just pull him out. Whoa! He ripped his heart out?
You heard of me?
Yes.
So why don't you tell me what business your family has with my brother?
Okay, so Elijah's definitely a bit of a savage, huh?
Connection to your brother.
Kind of connection.
Apparently, they spent some time together. One thing led to another, and now, this special werewolf girl, she's pregnant. And the father of the child she's carrying is your brother, Klaus.
So it's a werewolf and vampire?
Nothing's
Is
impossible.
it a mixed breed?
Especially not when it comes to your brother. Think about it. They call him the hybrid, right?
We were happy. And it's, however, until one night, our youngest brother was killed by our village's greatest threat.
So he's actually making her see this stuff right now?
Men that could transform themselves
Wow.
into wolves during a full moon.
That's a pretty cool
Family was
ability.
devastated. Thus, the first vampires were born. But with this speed, this strength,
So
this
that's how-
immortality came terrible hunger.
Wow, so that's the
No one
vampire
feels
origin
hunger
story.
More than Klaus.
What is happening to me?
Whoa.
Father, it hurts.
Oh my gosh.
He's a beast.
He wasn't just a vampire.
He was also a werewolf.
So that's why they call him the hybrid.
That's how the werewolf curse works.
Help me.
Your dad was a dick. I'm
That's
Haley.
one way to put it. Okay, but that's really cool that Klaus is a werewolf vampire hybrid, though. I heard them call him the hybrid earlier, and I was like, wait, what's up with that? So now I guess I understand that better, or whatever.
What an entirely unwelcome surprise.
And what an entirely unsurprising welcome. Come with me.
I'm not going
That was a
anywhere.
nice play on words.
Find out who.
My sister gave her life to perform the spell she needed to confirm this pregnancy because of Jane Ann's sacrifice.
Couldn't just take a pregnancy test? Pee on a stick?
Us. We can keep them safe. Or we can kill them. If you don't help us take down Marcel. So help me.
Wow.
Haley won't live long enough to see her first maternity dress.
Wait, what?
She said, what? Okay, this just elevated from blackmail.
Kill her. And the baby.
What?
What do I care?
Seriously?
Screw this. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I would be too if I was her. Klaus said, you're not holding anything over my head. I mean, I'll
Klaus?
throw away your bargaining chips.
Elijah.
No, before ego, before anger, before paranoia created in this person before me. Someone I can barely even recognize as my own brother.
There's
This is
another brotherly relationship here,
original family.
just like in the Vampire Diaries.
No.
No. Well, I mean, it was a good try, Elijah. Nice speech and everything. He had his speech voice on. Then again, it seems like Elijah always has a speech voice.
The solution is to bring in more vampires?
Ow!
Voodoo?
The spell my sister performed, the one that got her killed, it didn't just confirm the pregnancy. It linked me to Haley.
What?
So anything, which means her life is in my hands.
What?
Klaus may not care about
Oh
his
my
own
gosh.
child. I have nothing to lose.
Fair enough.
You have until midnight to get Klaus to change his mind.
There's our ticking clock.
Down, and now look at you, master of your domain, prince of the city.
Did they just turn the music off so everybody could look and listen?
Hey man, I get it. But
It's so funny to me when stuff like this happens in TV shows, just because in a real loud party like that, first of all, they wouldn't have even been able to hear each other without yelling at the top of their lungs. everybody else definitely wouldn't have been able to hear them and been aware enough to turn the music off and start listening to them. It's just funny to me when stuff like that happens in a TV show.
I'm the king!
Okay, Marcel.
Show me some respect.
What do you have to say to that, Klaus? Uh-oh, this doesn't look good for Marcel. I got a bad feeling. Woo! It didn't look good for that dude.
Your friend will be dead by the weekend. Who has the power now, friend?
Klaus is a loose cannon. Okay, Elijah and Marcel face to face now.
Although we could never control those pesky witches at the French Quarter, how are you doing?
Brother asked me the same question. I gave him the same answer. It's my business. What do you care about the witches?
Well, that's my business now, isn't it?
Oh, turned it on him. Not that I don't believe Elijah. I'm sure he's telling the truth, and I'm pretty sure that he's not lying. But it is funny how the guy Marcel just automatically was like, "Oh, okay, wow, I completely believe you," when he said that about the hybrid's blood curing the guy, because he could just be saying that just to get him to help. You know what I mean? He didn't ask for proof or anything. But I think that was just to keep the story going. They didn't want to stop and have the guy asking for proof. It was just, he could totally just be lying, but I don't think he is. Ooh. Look who he's got.
And I bring proof of my intent to help you.
See, now, that's proof.
The body of your fallen friend. The girl and child remain unharmed. Or Klaus will kill you all.
Ooh. Now Elijah's the one making the threats.
And I will help him.
Extra threat.
Well, who's more pathetic? The one who sees hope to make his family whole? Or the coward who can only see the world through his own fear?
I haven't cared about anything for centuries. A sentimental fool.
Perhaps. But I've lasted this long in spite of it, haven't I?
Good point. She's just ignoring Elijah too now. These voiceovers that Elijah has been giving, at least at the beginning and then right there, have been pretty poignant. And just the stuff he said, Elijah comes across as a very wise character, not only in the way that he talks, but because literally just the way he talks and articulates himself, like I said, he almost always has a speech voice on. It's kind of interesting. And then also just everything he says, he said a lot of kind of cool, deep lines, if you will, so far this episode, in voiceover and just, in talking to people. Feels like the writers are kind of flexing their profundity through Elijah. What's his name? Klaus this episode has been, portraying a lot of traits from the 7 deadly flaws or whatever it's called, having wrath, and I guess you could call that greed, wanting it all back. He wants to be king. You could even say that he has pride. He's just been displaying a lot of those 7 deadly sins or whatever they're called. That's a good way to look at it. That's what got through them. Nice.
And my adoptive parents kicked me out the second that I turned into a wolf. So
She doesn't know what family feels like either.
How I feel about being a mother because I never really had a good one.
Marcel obviously has something that they need. They don't want him dead.
There must be a reason why.
Feels like a lot is happening this episode.
The originals. Davina. As powerful as you are, they don't stand a chance.
In addition to the secret weapon.
One weakness that Marcel could exploit.
And what is that?
You.
Forgive me.
What?
Brother. There is no power in love. Mercy makes you weak. Family
What?
makes you weak.
Yo, that's so cool. That is so cool. And I was sitting here, I mean, so I don't know what exactly this means for Elijah. Like, did he really just die? Is he gone? But I was kind of thinking, like, I was like, Elijah feels like, I'm like, will he really be like this the whole series? Because, like, how I was talking about just how he, you know, how he carries himself, how he talks, it almost feels so, like, you know, posh and polished and, like, I don't know, it almost felt like, I'm like, will this really work with him just being this way the entire series? And I don't know, maybe they're just actually just killing him off. Maybe he was just like, you know, kind of the facilitator or the vessel for us to just kind of go into this world, and now they're just like, you know, leaving him at the wayside. Like, they just killed him. I mean, I imagine this can't just be the total end for him. I feel like he's probably going to be back at some point somehow. I don't know. Or maybe he just put him in a slumber like he did. Remember how they said the silver dagger thing with Rebecca for 90 years? That might have been a precedent that was set to, you know, let you know that that can happen, and then to do it to Elijah. So maybe he's just putting Elijah in a slumber too, and maybe Elijah will be able to find a way to wake up sooner than 90 years, you know? All right, I thought that that was a really cool episode. You know, I guess it was technically a premise pilot in that, you know, it sort of gave the reason as to why these characters are returning to this place at this time, what is sort of the goal at the moment. So it was like a premise pilot in that sense, rather than just being something that, you know, just drops you in the middle of a story that could have just been any episode. But at the same time, this didn't feel like, you know, like a first episode. Like, it didn't feel like it spent, like, you know how oftentimes on TV shows the first episode spends practically the first half of the episode just on exposition, introducing you to the characters, like getting you acclimated to the world, but it doesn't feel like a lot has happened yet. This episode, it really felt like just the whole time, like we got a fully contained episode story that felt like something that would have just happened later in the series. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't give off that first episode kind of vibe, but yet it still did a really good job, I think, of introducing us to the characters, getting us to know them at least to a degree, maybe a small degree, but still we kind of know the characters now. Through their actions, we get a sense of who Klaus is. We get a sense of who Elijah is. We get a sense of who Rebecca is. We got a sense of, like, what's her name, Haley and whatnot. We learned a little bit about her backstory and everything. And obviously we learned about the original's backstory. So we learned a lot, but we still really got a fully fledged story in a way. You know what I mean? Like, this episode felt like so much happened. Like, it feels like I just watched multiple episodes almost for some reason, because it just felt like they got a lot done in just one episode. Now, I don't know how much of this, like, ties in with the Vampire Diaries, because I don't think that any characters on this episode were in that first episode of the Vampire Diaries that I saw. So I don't know who from this show is also on the Vampire Diaries that provides that link, or that, you know, that crossover that, you know, really makes this a spinoff, aside from it just being in the same universe. I mean, I would actually say I enjoyed this one more than the first episode of the Vampire Diaries. It was just, like I said, it felt like it was jam-packed. Like, they had a lot going on. The characters were relatively interesting, I believe. Elijah was he was a talker. I mean, like he knew how to say things in a very profound way. Usually I would be like, oh, that's kind of, you know, kind of unrealistic that somebody could talk like be that articulate all the time. But hey, man, I mean, this dude's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I'm sure he's picked up a lot of, you know, a lot of insight and wisdom and whatnot. But man, at the end there, he stabbed him. So Klaus stabbed Elijah. I don't know what that is about to mean. At first I thought Elijah might just be dying right there, but now I'm thinking maybe he's just getting put into a slumber like Rebecca did for 90 years. Or at least she seemed to mention that. So I guess I'll see. I'll see if Elijah is still around in the last episode. But regardless, them ending it that way is so cool to me. Yeah, man, but I enjoyed it. In terms of predictions, I have no idea how to even predict what's going to happen with this. Like, I mean, I really don't even know. I can't think of any type of predictions to make, honestly. Like, I feel like, I mean, with the Vampire Diaries, apparently people became vampires and stopped being vampires and stuff like that. So maybe with this, that'll happen too. Maybe Klaus will somehow lose his vampire side and be only a werewolf, or he'll lose his werewolf side and be only a vampire or something. Or maybe that'll just happen at some point, but then he'll get it back. Or I don't know, like, I feel like eventually Rebecca's going to get, you know, back in agreement with them, and Rebecca's going to be playing a much more active role in things than just like sitting around in a bathtub or something, trying to distance herself from everything. I think eventually Rebecca's going to be playing a big role again. So probably by the last episode, we're going to be seeing a lot from Rebecca if she's still around. I don't know. People like, I mean, the baby, Haley, I mean, that's going to be interesting. Like, what is a vampire baby going to be like? You know what I mean? Like, will they come out born as a baby and then just be stuck as a baby? Like, stuck as a, like the moment, how does that even work? Because vampires don't age, right? So, like, how does the baby grow? You know what I mean? Unless it's just not going to be a vampire or a werewolf. Maybe since he's part werewolf and she's a werewolf, it's only going to be a werewolf. Or maybe it'll be a hybrid, but it's going to be the werewolf part that lets it grow. I don't know. That's confusing. Maybe it'll grow really fast, and by the 5th season, it'll, you know, be way older, reminiscent of another show I've seen that, you know, has vampires. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. This was fun, and I actually might watch this whole show at some point too, because I really enjoyed that. So if you want to see my reaction to the final episode, I'll be uploading it next Friday. If you're watching this after next Friday, then the video is right here. If not, then it's not right here yet, but it will be here by next Friday. So guess I'll see you all then. Until then, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And head to Patreon for full uncut reactions. That's all I got to say to you right now. See you all later.